Hey everyone, today we're going to examine what people are calling the Deuteronomy 13 test and see how well this Messiah of the New Testament measures up against it. Shalom everybody, and welcome to Beit Tefillah, the Deuteronomy 13 test. The test that so many Messianics use to try and validate their New Testament Messiah, but there's a huge problem with that. The Deuteronomy 13 test, or what we have in Deuteronomy chapter 13, was not given to validate a Messiah. This is a test for us. The whole purpose of this Deuteronomy 13 test is to make sure that Elohim's people didn't make the tragic mistake of going after another mighty one besides Elohim. So if you believe in this New Testament Messiah, this means that you have failed this test. So we need to go through this and have a closer look at this. Let's read the first few verses of Deuteronomy chapter 13. We'll read Deuteronomy 13, 1-3. When there arises among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and he shall give you a sign or wonder, and the sign or the wonder shall come true, of which he has spoken to you, saying, Let us go after other mighty ones which you have not known, and serve them, do not listen to the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams, for Yehovah your Elohim is trying you to know whether you love Yehovah your Elohim with all of your heart and with all of your being. Let's notice in verse 2 that it's stated, to go after other mighty ones which you have not known. So let's think about it. Had anyone at this point in time ever heard or known of any New Testament Messiah? Absolutely not. There's a big clue, and in all actuality we could stop right there, but we'll keep investigating. Let's notice what the verse right after that states in verse 4, Deuteronomy 13:4. Walk after Yehovah your Elohim and fear him, and guard his commands, obey his voice, serve him, and cling to him. And that right there is what Deuteronomy 13 is all about, to keep us following Elohim and only Elohim. Just prior to Deuteronomy chapter 13, we have this verse from Elohim in Deuteronomy 12, verse 32. All the words I am commanding you, guard to do it, do not add to it, nor take away from it. Deuteronomy chapter 13 is near the end of the Torah, and nowhere in the entire Torah did Elohim ever tell us that a man would be sacrificed for the sin of others. Nowhere. Elohim told us in Ezekiel 18:20 that each is to die for his own sin. Elohim gave us all the guidelines for how the sacrifices were to be done in order so that they would be accepted by him, and this New Testament Messiah's death violated every single one. That entire phony scenario does nothing but add or subtract from the word of Elohim. And we also know from Malachi 3 verse 6, Elohim said, For I am Yehovah, I shall not change. So we know that Elohim would not have changed his plan. There's another big clue. Let's say that somebody back in the day would have even dared suggest something as ludicrous as following a New Testament Messiah that nobody, nor their fathers, would have known. This is what Elohim said about that, as recorded in Deuteronomy 13, 6-10. When your brother, the son of your mother, or your son or your daughter, or the wife of your bosom, or your friend who is as your own being. So listen to how close these people would be to you. Let's go over this one more time. This isn't just some dude, okay? When your brother, the son of your mother, or your son, or your daughter, or the wife of your bosom, or your friend who is as your own being, entices you secretly, saying, Let us go and serve other mighty ones which you have not known, neither you nor your fathers, of the mighty ones of the people which are all around you, near to you or far off from you, from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth. Do not agree with him or listen to him, nor shall your eye pardon him, nor spare him, nor conceal him, but you shall certainly kill him. Your hand is first against him to put him to death, and afterward the hand of all the people, and you shall stone him with stones until he dies, because he sought to entice you away from Yehovah your Elohim. Now, isn't that what happened in the golden calf incident? Didn't Moses called people from the tribe of Levi and say, who is with Elohim today? And they came over, and then they were given the priesthood because they slayed every man to his brother, as it said. These were people that were close to him, their own family members. So how do we think that Elohim feels about these so-called Torah teachers that are teaching their followers to follow this YESHUA from the New Testament? If they don't repent of their idolatrous behavior, what can we assume Elohim will do with these people that are helping to keep others in idolatry when they stand before Elohim in judgment one day? Do we think he's going to say, oh, well, you did pretty good? Or do we think he's going to cut them off from his people? You know, many others have made videos on this subject, on this idea of the Deuteronomy 13 test, which it doesn't say in Deuteronomy 13, but that's the so-called test that people give it in order to validate this New Testament Messiah. But people try to justify YESHUA somehow passing this test as they give New Testament verses quoting YESHUA telling people to obey Elohim. So they can say, see, he's saying, you know, follow Elohim. And so they're given those verses. And they state that YESHUA never told them to seek out other gods. So let's think about this. If this was truly the case, then how did YESHUA differ from the prophets in the Tanakh? If that was all he did, how did he differ from the prophets in the Tanakh? We know that's not all he did. But if that was all he did, what these people claim, how would he differ? All of the prophets in the Tanakh told the people to repent, to turn back and obey Elohim in his word. Yet there is nothing telling us that we need to believe in a certain prophet in the Tanakh for our salvation. Nothing of the sort. With people stating innocent things like YESHUA never said anything but to worship the Father, maybe we should examine other things that YESHUA supposedly said. There are many things that are written in this New Testament that this Messiah supposedly said that Elohim never delivered to us, such as we have in Matthew 7:22-23. Many shall say to me in that day, Master, Master, have we not prophesied in your name, cast out demons in your name, and done many mighty works in your name? Then I shall declare to them, I never knew you, depart from me, you who work lawlessness. So let's think about this. Where in the Tanakh were we ever instructed to prophesy, cast out demons, or do mighty works, all in the name of some kind of New Testament Messiah? Nowhere. Then we're given a threat, with people thinking they might hear this, I never knew you stuff. However, Adam, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Joseph, David, Hezekiah, and such never ever knew any kind of New Testament Messiah. And we have no valid reason by Elohim to know him either. Continuing. Matthew 18:19. Again, I say to you that if two of you agree on earth concerning any matter that they ask, it shall be done for them by my Father in the heavens. Wow. Here YESHUA is making promises and telling lies greater than any modern politician. If any two of us agree on any matter and ask, Elohim will positively do it? I don't remember that in Torah. It's nowhere in Tanakh. And since this is adding to the word of Yehovah, it's also a sin. Up next is Matthew 10:32-33. Everyone, therefore, who shall confess me before men, him I shall also confess before my Father who is in the heavens. But whoever shall deny me before men, him I shall also deny before my Father who is in the heavens. Okay, here's another threat. We're made to think if we don't confess this Messiah to other people, that he won't confess us to the Father. But since Elohim never told us about this YESHUA guy, or even mentioned this anywhere in Tanakh, this is of no concern to us whatsoever. It's just an empty threat. Because Elohim's not standing behind it, or he would have told us. Matthew 10:42. Listen to this one. And whoever gives one of these little ones a cup of cold water only in the name of a taught one, truly I say to you, he shall by no means lose his reward. So whoever gives a cup of cold water to a little one in the name of a taught one shall not lose his reward. Seriously? Because that's in the Torah, right? All right, next one. Matthew 11:27. All have been handed over to me by my Father. Wrong. That's a lie. Elohim does nothing without revealing his secrets to the prophets. And there's not a prophet in Tanakh that ever mentioned something like that. Would have been huge. That would have been a very big deal. Another one. Matthew 16:25. For whoever wishes to save his life shall lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake shall find it. This is something else that would have also been a very big deal, yet nowhere in Tanakh did Elohim ever say, whoever loses his life for the sake of a coming New Testament Messiah shall certainly keep it. So see, this isn't Yeshua saying innocent little things that we're comparing in Deuteronomy 13, like, follow only Elohim. Anyone saying something like that is confused or in denial or both. The next one. Matthew 20:28. The son of Adam did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. Wrong. According to Elohim, Yeshua could not have given his life as ransom for even one other person. Elohim does not accept human sacrifice, and he told us that nobody can die for the sins of another. Each is to die for his own sin. So that makes Yeshua a liar right there. Here's a couple more lies. John 10:9. I am the door. Whoever enters through me, he shall be saved. John 14:6. Yeshua said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Seriously? This is a very different salvation plan than what Elohim gave to his people in the Tanakh. How about if we look at a couple failed prophecies? Matthew 16:28. Truly, I say to you, there are some standing here who shall not taste death at all until they see the Son of Adam coming in his reign. Well, it's been about 2,000 years. I would fare to make a guess and say that they're all dead. So, there's a failed one. And then this one is pertaining to when Jerusalem was sacked and the temple was destroyed. It was also written after the fact, so that's convenient. But Luke 21:31-32, which says, So you also, when you see these matters take place, know that the reign of Elohim is near. Truly I say to you, this generation shall by no means pass away till all shall have taken place. Didn't happen. Two big fails right there. So, if a prophecy doesn't come true, then that prophet is not of Elohim. Those are just two examples right there of prophecies that this Yeshua gave that failed, so it voids him as any sort of prophet for Elohim. So with this whole Deuteronomy testing scenario, starting out with Deuteronomy 13:1, when there arises among you a prophet, you can stop right there. Yeshua is no prophet for Elohim. Not at all. Deuteronomy 13 was given to us to make sure that we didn't make the tragic mistake of going after another besides Elohim. Elohim is testing us. The first commandment given by Elohim in Exodus 23, you have no other mighty ones besides me. And let's hear this again from Deuteronomy 13:1-3. When there arises among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and he shall give you a sign or a wonder, and the sign of the wonder shall come true, of which he has spoken to you, saying, Let us go after other mighty ones which you have not known, and serve them. Do not listen to the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams, for Yehovah your Elohim is testing you, to know whether you love Yehovah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being. Elohim is one, and he's the only one. Remember the Shema? Deuteronomy 6:4-6. Hear, O Yisrael, Yehovah our Elohim, Yehovah is one. And you shall love Yehovah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being and with all your might. And these words which I am commanding you today shall be in your heart. And this goes on and is followed by instruction from Elohim to teach these words to our children, so that future generations will not deviate from the course that Elohim set down in his word for his people. Following a New Testament Messiah would be a huge deviation from that course. I absolutely cannot stress the importance of us passing this test in Deuteronomy 13. If you accept this New Testament Messiah, then you have taken another besides Elohim. Full stop. Any feasts, Sabbaths, or any pseudo-Torah that you may try to keep is all worthless to Elohim because you are in idolatry, if you're following a New Testament Messiah. Deuteronomy 13 was not given to validate some kind of New Testament Messiah. It was given so that we may obey Exodus 20:3, where Elohim commanded us, you have no other mighty ones besides me. Well, I hope this video blessed you. Shalom to all who are out of messianic idolatry and are truly Yisrael, scattered worldwide in the dispersion. Everybody be blessed and have a wonderful day.